Alright, back to the Bronte. The first case. You will become a judge one day, so you are sent to the prefecture of Eterna to be mentored by a more experienced colleague. Your mentor is a judge of considerable age, a noble of the mantle with a proud bearing about him. He never misses a chance to remind you that being mentored by such an experienced man of office is a great honor. Your mentor entrusts you with his minor cases, and, to his great joy, his night shift. Another night begins. The office is growing darker. You are still there, zealously filling out the paperwork for the day. A petty theft, a verbal assault against a noble of the sword by a commoner, a fine for the parents of children who covered an imperial institution with obscene drawings. Oh. Petty cases, all of them. But they are real cases a judge has to face. And so you sit there, carefully comparing complaints, statements, and witness testimony. Then the door of your office swings open. A gendarme drags in a provocatively dressed girl. Her golden hair is undone, and her makeup is a fiery red. Girls like her sell their bodies in houses of ill repute. The next to enter the office is a stout priest, his face adorned by a nose of remarkable shape and a huge wart on his cheek. You do your best to avoid starting at it. I think staring is the word you're looking for. The gendarme gives his report. The girl was arrested with a certain gentleman in the park by the Temple of the Twins. They were commuting acts of carnality, an affront to the faith. The huffing and puffing priest interrupts him and starts yelling. He saw her doing magic, he did. The gentleman was enthralled by the girl, and he was glowing like a lamppost. You gesture for the priest to stay quiet and ask if the gendarme can prove this. The gendarme only shrugs. He didn't see anyone glowing. He arrested the girl for her sacrilegious conduct alone. The man in her company was a noble, so the gendarme couldn't bring himself to arrest him. He does, however, remember his name. The priest is huffing and puffing even louder now. It was magic, he screams. You must refer this case to the Inquisition. This witch was loose on the streets of the Empire's illustrious capital, seducing good men with her vile charms. Take a little swig of water there. The girl stays quiet all the while. Her eyes are emerald green, twinkling with gold as she looks at you. When she does speak, her voice is soft, like smooth velvet. My name is Alis, Your Honor. All I did was obey the noble gentleman's wish. He wanted my affection, right by the temple, and I dared not oppose him. I did not defy my lot, did I? The wench looks up and meet your gaze as she says these words. Her eyes reflect the candlelight in the dusk, sending sparks of gold dancing across the walls. The gendarme stands awkwardly by the door, sighing. The priest goes off on another rant. You tell him to be quiet. The day is not over yet. You must decide how to resolve this unusual case on your own. The law says a judge must investigate all circumstances related to a case. You know the name of the nobleman who was seen with the girl in the throes of passion. The gendarme was afraid to question him, but you are a future nobleman yourself, a young judge. Surely you can find a way to resolve this matter with discretion and get the information you need from the nobleman. But perhaps this suspicious lady is Alis is at the heart of the matter. You have no doubt she will reveal her true colors if you question her. If the priest was right about her using magic, the girl's fate is sealed. Your Honor. You look up from your desk and into the eyes of the beautiful Alis, and you suddenly feel as though a divine light is shining upon you. The emotion flows like a river. It lifts you up. This is more than beauty, more than passion. This is much, 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 much more. Will you resist the call, or will you heed it? So, we can find the nobleman. We can interrogate her, which will kill her. That's pretty rough. Or we can just straight up release her. I think I like the find the nobleman option. You find the nobleman who was allegedly in Alis's company and question him delicately about the incident. No one needs to die here. You tell the gendarme to take the girl to a holding cell. Her eyes are filled with chagrin and pity as the man takes her away. You compose a polite and thorough letter to Sir Diego El Cator, the nobleman seen with the girl in question. You delicately hint that his reputation will be safe and promise full confidentiality. When you come to the office the next morning, you see a nervous young nobleman waiting at the door. You must be Judge Brante, he says. You meet Sir El Cator with a dignified greeting and start questioning him on the case of Alice the harlot. It is true that the two of them ended up in the Temple Park because this was Sir El Cator's wish. He says he barely remembers last night. He was quite inebriated and determined to have a good time. He spotted Alice by accident. She was standing under a lamppost by the temple. As for the Temple Park, he does not quite remember why they ended up there. You take his statement in accordance with established procedure. Next question. Would Sir El Cator say his mind was clouded by the young woman? The nobleman turns red. He asks quietly, "Haven't you seen the lass yourself, Sir Brante? How could anyone ignore her? Still, you ask, was there anything suspicious about her?" He speaks slowly. Yes, it was as though she could see his every desire, and he was happy beyond measure in her embrace. It felt like the gods themselves were smiling at him, Sir El Cator. And yet, perhaps it was merely the wine and her beauty and nothing else. You thank the young nobleman for his honesty and promise to keep his statement a carefully guarded secret. You sentence the harlot to 2 days in the pillory for defiling a place of worship with her depravity. You find no reason to refer Alice to the Inquisition, however. You write case closed on Alice's file and put it in the archives. Okay. I think that is the best possible outcome on that. You save the enigmatic singer known as the Golden Voice from an untimely death. Alright, moving on. Youth is almost over. We are 19. 1137, summer. The Overseer of Magra. 2 major events take place while you are busy living your life. Firstly, Cornelius Tempest is no longer the great Chancellor of the Empire. He has been ousted and sent back to his province. His replacement is the Archduke of Monia, Agerius Monrogue. The same Monrogue who sought to shut down the college. The most powerful lord in the realm finally convinced the Emperor that his brother Cornelius was giving too much freedom to the lowborn. Now the policies of the Empire will be reversed. Many fear that the new great Chancellor will destroy the imperial code of laws and other achievements of Cornelius. There are cautious rumors among the people. They say the new great Chancellor is going to revoke the right of the common lot to be ennobled by the mantle. Secondly, Magra, your homeland, now has a new overseer, Gaius Tempest, the other brother of Emperor Uther II. Usually the overseer of the province is its archduke. After all, it makes sense for the province's most powerful noble to impart the emperor's will to the locals. Yet now the age-old tradition has been broken, and, to no one's surprise, Archduke Tarquinius Milanitis is absolutely furious. Gaius Tempest used to be the main supporter of his brother, former Great Chancellor Cornelius Tempest. The nobles at the emperor's court say that a stratagem by the Archean gentry, who want Gaius removed from the court affairs along with Cornelius. Either way, Gaius Tempest and Tarquinius Milanitis will be at each other's throats over the province. This does not bode well for their future. Only one thing is clear. Magra, your home province, is about to face great changes. Okay. +1 to power and order. A great feast for all. The capital is preparing for a great celebration. The coming of age of Gerion Tempest, heir to the throne. The streets are being cleaned, the lowborn merchants are gone from the squares, and flags and flower garlands have appeared on the buildings. By the Emperor's decree, everyone will celebrate for the next 3 days. Eterna is abuzz. A festive procession starts on the streets. Students from the college and cadets from the military academy will be there to show their gratitude to the Emperor's family for entrusting them with the power they wield. Ribbons and flags flutter in the wind. The streets are scrubbed clean, and the scent of flowers fills the air. You march side by side with Thomas, carrying the banner of your province. Your friend's brown hair is unusually well combed today. He waves to every girl you see on the streets as you pass by. They giggle shyly, and some of them wave back. Did you see that, pal? Look at that beauty. She just smiled at me. Now this is what I call living. I just love parades. The Tempest royal family observes the slowly approaching parade from the balcony of the Imperial Palace. They are joined by the Emperor's highest dignitaries and provincial overseers. You see Emperor Uther II with your own eyes, there, high above, yet so close. There's a squeak in my chair. The columns come to a halt at the balcony and salute the Emperor with the mottos of the College and the Academy. You join the other college students in crying, "Learning is strength, learning is will." The Emperor raises his hand in a gesture of benevolent greeting. His voice echoes across the square. I accept your gratitude, my loyal subjects. Take pride as you wield your knowledge and valor in service of the Empire. All who are worthy will be ennobled by the mantle, by my grace. The future nobles around you cheer the Emperor's words, but the jubilation gives way to murmurs of discontent when Archduke Monroe, the new great Chancellor of the Empire, steps onto the balcony. Everyone here remembers all too well how the Archduke attempted to shut down the college by force. Still, the Archduke is the de facto leader of the Arcanian gentry. He is a force to be reckoned with, even for the Emperor, and so he is the great Chancellor now. Hail your Emperor, common folk. Be forever obedient and grateful for the good graces you do not deserve by birth. The Archduke does not even bother to hide his contempt for the gathering below. Booed by the crowd, he rejoins the dignitaries in the back row. You notice one of them, a slender, elegant figure under an emerald banner with a black snake. She is Octavia Milanitis, daughter to the Archduke of Magra. Now that's new. You noticed Octavia too, eh? Our Archduke Milanitis sent his daughter in his stead. That's a sign of disrespect for the Emperor, if I've ever seen one. Is he so enraged because he's no longer the overseer of Magra? I mean, you can imagine his surprise. That's never happened before. But then everyone grows silent. A young, slender Arcanian with a shy smile comes forth. There are whispers in the crowd. That's Prince Geryon, heir to the throne, ward of Cornelius, promise and hope of the common estate. To the left of Geryon is his younger brother Flavius. He is baffled at the sight of the parade below, too young to process what he is seeing. May the twins be kind to you, my future subjects. I promise to repay you in kind and help you prosper in your loyal service to the Empire. Exalted by the words, the future nobles roar as one. All hail Prince Geryon. Another figure steps into view next to the heir. He is an Arcanian, elegantly dressed, and his mantle bears the Tempest's colors. He raises his arm, about to make a speech. Hey look, that's Gaius Tempest, the Emperor's brother, and the new overseer of Magra. By the by, it seems the Arcanian elders want him as far away from the throne as possible, just like his older brother Cornelius. Those two have been promising too many freedoms to commoners like you and me. Long live Prince Geryon, students of the college, cadets of the academy. Time and again you have proven yourselves to the Empire by word and deed. Today is a day of great celebration, and in honor of Prince Geryon, you must ask the Emperor to guarantee forever the right of distinguished common folk to be ennobled by the mantle. So now ask. The cadets and students freeze in hesitation. They exchange glances, unsure whether to follow the words of the Emperor's own brother. On the balcony high above, Prince Geryon also remains still, awaiting a reaction from the crowd. Archduke Monroe briskly steps into view once more. He takes several seconds to observe the crowd before he speaks. Imperial subjects, what the Emperor's brother wishes to say is that you must always remember that you owe your status to the Tempest dynasty. The Emperor accepts your gratitude and sends you off with his blessing. You may leave now. But the columns stay where they are. That's not what Gaius Tempest said. Let the Emperor hear us. The law. We ask for the law. Commotion and murmurs spread over the crowd as some of the future nobles refuse to follow the Archduke's orders. There are shouts heard here and there. The law, we ask for the law. The academy officers and teachers of the college urge them to fall in line and resume the parade, but tension is rising. The crowd slowly grows enraged and unruly. You have to decide where you stand here. So we can follow the order. Demand your rights or bide your time. Well, this gets order up, power down. Well, that's good or bad, but it also gives us a diplomacy. So why don't we follow the order from above and direct your column to withdraw from the square. You have the Emperor's orders. You cannot help but submit. Your duty demands it. And even if the other students disagree with Chancellor Monroe's words, they too have to follow his order. And so you take the matter into your own hands, giving orders, talking down objectors, and enlisting the responsible students to help you rein in the others. Eventually you whip the few remaining vocal students into shape and line up in a semblance of a column. The law, the law. You grab your friend by the shoulder. Does Thomas not realize that he is violating a direct order from the Imperial High Command? And he is a future army man. Then what of Gaius Tempus? All we ask is to be heard by the Emperor. Still, you're right, pal. Always observe the chain of command. Thomas sides with you and starts helping you reorganize people into a column. Some students and cadets, however, keep crying for the law and demanding to hear what the Emperor has to say. They gather in the very center of the square. An Imperial Guard cavalry regiment emerges from the palace. They start slowly advancing on the crowd, hands on their swords, pushing people out of the square. You combine and direct the efforts of the academy officers and cadets and restore order to the procession. Your orders and call to action finally have an effect. Most students submit and return to their columns. The commotion in the square is quelled, and the cavalry withdraws. Emperor Uther II appears on the balcony again. Archduke Monroe, the Emperor's great chancellor, stands by his side. The square falls silent at the sight of the sovereign. My subjects, I can see how overjoyed you are for Prince Geryon, but your show of reverence and gratitude is clear enough. Now follow the great chancellor's order and obey my will. Continue the parade, and sing the praises of the Tempest dynasty that has given you so much. The square obediently lines up in columns once again. The bout of defiance is in the past now, and they resume the festive parade through the city streets. You march along with your column. Thanks to your abilities, it was kept from rebellion. Glory to Emperor Uther. Glory to Prince Geryon. I guess I have my sister on my mind. Moving on. The Way of the Sword. Your studies at the college come easily to you. Only now do you realize the importance of all the lessons you had to endure as a child at father's expense. Month after month, you study the judge's trade down to the smallest details, growing more confident in your new calling with every lecture. But there is more to your education than the judge's trade and imperial law. You also learn manners, and courtly etiquette, and poetry and composition, and even fencing. One day, some of you go to Thomas to a deserted patch of land to practice with the sword. Then, finally, the day of your judge's exams comes. You send your test results to Father, and he replies with an appointment to the judge's office of the Prefecture of Margra. Now you have a new life and new profession back home. You will return to your hometown as a judge. It is early morning at the great temple of the twins. Your heart skips a beat as you step inside the temple. It feels like the day from the childhood again. The priest is standing at the altar, and the temple is divided into two halves. But you are no longer a frightened little child anymore. You are now a grown man who is about to become a noble. The floor of the common side is there to cause pain. You feel the jagged edges even through the soles of your boots. This pain marks your final few seconds as a commoner. The priest stands before you. You kneel again, but now there is warm, smooth marble under your knees. You hear the words spoken above your head. From this day forth, your lot is strength and will. From this day forth, you will rule, and fight, and pursue the arts. Now rise, noble. You place your lips on the smooth steel of the sword, and when you rise again, you realize that the trembling you felt ever since you had the first sacrament is now completely gone. You arise a new man, your every motion now uncannily accurate, your thoughts surprisingly fresh, your muscles ready to face the fight. This day feels worthy of a poem, and now you can compose one if you wish. You touch your back. The mark of the lash from your previous sacrament is gone, completely, erased forever. You hurry from the sacrament back to your room at the college. Your father's gift awaits you there, a sword, your very own sword. Now to celebrate. All college students are invited to the college tournament. Then a party. The sword feels wonderful in your hand, a promise of future victories. The tournament begins. The stands are loud with anticipation. Now, in your entire life, you have seen so many beautiful noble ladies in one place. Never in your entire life. But there is only one who attracts everyone's attention. The raven-haired, black-eyed Octavia Milanitis, the daughter to the Archduke of Magra, has graced the tournament with a visit. She is wearing a dress of emerald green, her austere hairdo immaculate. She is surrounded by her ladies-in-waiting, all beauties in their own right. When a noble enters the tournament, he must announce the name of a lady whose honor he is fighting for. Many shout the names of their loved ones in the stalls. You know that many would fight for Octavia Milanitis, but the onus of responsibility is too great. You take a few jabs with the sword, warming up for the fight. Soon it is your turn. All eyes are on you now. The young lady Octavia hides her face behind the hand fan, yet her eyes watch you with curiosity. Dedicate to our father is not a choice, because we never had the fencing lesson. We can address Octavia publicly. Well, we can't, because she doesn't remember us. We can choose a lady of the court to fight for, or we can fight in Octavia's name. Well, out of my two options, this seems like the one to pick, I guess. So why don't we fight for the honor of Octavia Milanitis? You approach the stalls and shout clearly and loudly. You will fight for the honor of the young Duchess Octavia Milanitis. Slowly, she rises from her seat. The stalls grow quiet. If you suffer defeat after such insolent words, you may face the ire of one of the ancient Archean dynasties. Sir Angelo Brante. How do I know this name? Ah yes, you have already dared to draw my attention once. In memory of our amusing encounter, I will grant you the honor of fighting in my name. Do not disgrace it. The stalls explode with applause, celebrating your courage. The first fight begins. The rules are the same as for any noble duel. Whoever draws first blood wins. Your first opponent does not put up much of a fight. A few minutes later, he misses a jab to the thigh. Your shirt is soaked with sweat. The hilt of your sword feels slippery in your own wet fingers. From behind her emerald hand fan, Octavia watches you closely from her seat. Wating. You prevail in 3 fights in a row and prepare to face a new opponent. You know him well. He was mentored at the prefecture of Eterna after you. He is an unusually quick and nimble fighter. He catches you with a feint, then follows it up with a light jab to the side. Fair enough. 3 victories, not bad. You salute Octavia Milanitis with your sword, and she gratefully accepts your gesture. You have proven yourself well, Sir Brante. Who knew you would become a noble, and we would meet again, here in the capital of Eterna? I must say, I am amazed. The eyes of the young Archduchess follow you even as you leave the arena. You will remember this day for the rest of your life, the day when you became a noble. so we have sympathy with Octavia now, who's intrigued by us. Okay. You have earned the judge's mantle and the noble title. Alright, what's next? 1137, winter. Diamant stands trial. Just before you leave the capital, you overhear something unusual on the street. Junius Dynamite, Patriarch of Astinia and one of the leaders of the new faith, will stand trial before a church tribunal. The Order of the Inquisition has accused Patriarch Junius of patronizing blasphemous witches and disseminating heresy. The Holy Tribunal claims that Junius Dynamite was scheming to free all witches and sorcerers from the collars that fettered their accursed powers. And, what's worse, the Patriarch has also accused of forming the Lotless, a dangerous secret society based in the imperial capital. Members of this society have been assaulting inquisitors and priests of the church, as well as freeing witches from the cleansing fire and helping them escape the holy law. Now the Patriarch must face the Holy Tribunal of the Inquisition in Eterna. By all accounts, this is a devastating blow to the new faith, and the end of days for Junius Diamant himself. The Inquisition will make the most of this opportunity to rid the land of this unwelcome Patriarch who dared to shake the foundations of the old faith. But then comes the sudden news of Patriarch Junius's reply to the Holy Tribunal. It is no less stunning than the accusation. These words are nothing but lies. I will say this to anyone who dares to bring this accusation against me in person. But I want those hypocrites to bear the full weight of their responsibility for this slander against me, my flock, and the Diamant dynasty, and the Holy Order. I agree to stand trial before the Holy Tribunal, but I will face them on my own land and on my terms. Patriarch Junius has already received strong support from Patriarch Luke and many priests across Archnia. Parishes of the new faith throughout the Empire are now speaking out in support of Junius Dynamite. The Church of the Twin Gods is about to be rent in twain. The Inquisition has no choice but to revoke the trial in order to avert a coming schism. Their new official stance is that Patriarch Junius has been wrongfully accused, and the Holy Tribunal will now apply more cautious judgment during any further trials against the followers of the new faith. Following the teachings of Patriarch Photis is no longer seen as heresy by the Inquisition. The trial of Junius Dynamite has been averted, but the divide within the church is only deepening. The new faith has directly challenged the old faith. The result is uncertain, depending on who you ask. Some say Junius Dynamite will be all but pled guilty. Others believe the Patriarch and the alleged rebellion against the Church, as well as the Inquisition, is nothing but a ruse. There are also people who think the entire situation sounds like one of the secret chancellery's dirty deeds. One way or another, the Patriarch of Astinia and co-leader of the new faith remains at his post, but for how long? And how will the old faith and the new faith clash next? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. Alright, one more. A farewell to the capital. The Reglata and Taurina rivers meet outside the city walls. You have barely left the capital since you came here all those years ago. A breeze is blowing in your face, and the bright noon sun hangs above the shining pillar. Your stay in Eterna has come to an end. You arrive here a boy, full of hopes and aspirations, driven by your family's expectations and a desire to live your life as you saw fit. And now you have to leave, and this thought fills you with gentle sadness. Eterna did not become your home, and yet here you have finally found your path. Here in the capital you became a nobleman and a judge. Now you are one of the rulers, the warriors, the pleasure seekers, the creators. Those who spilled their blood for the empire and family and honor. Those who keep and honor the age-old traditions. This is your lot now. You are to work in the prefecture of your home province as a judge. Your path to this goal was a long one, and your friend Thomas was by your side all the while. You fondly recall your walks through the streets of Eterna, your secret fencing lessons, your heartfelt discussions. You have no doubt your future back in Anazote will be full of glory. And then you recall the black, enigmatic eyes of Octavia Melanitis, an Archnean from one of the great dynasties, a woman whose beauty and majesty make you tremble. You heard she would be returning to the court of her father, the Archduke of Magra. Will you ever see her again? You will meet father once more. He tends to hide his feelings, but not this time. After all, you have fulfilled all his hopes, succeeded in your studies, and continued your family's noble legacy. Many things must have changed back home by now. You recall your older brother Stephen. Now that you have been ennobled, you are practically equals at last. This means you should follow an old tradition and bring Stephen a gift. And so you head to the market district of Eterna. Soon you are busy trying out swords at the weaponsmith's shop. There is a lot to consider for this gift. Stephen is taller, and his shoulders are broader, which means his sword must be heavier and longer. There can be no embellishments. Stephen would scoff at you if you brought him an extravagant weapon. At last you find a suitable sword, black and steel, a subtle ornament of leaves on the blade, and a grip shaped like woman vines. Woman vines, huh? It resembles the seared soil of Magra, beneath a silver tree. You choose the sheath with the same diligence. There, a light wooden frame bound in thin yet sturdy leather will make the blade easy to draw, and the buckle is sturdy enough. You leave the shop satisfied. You leave the capital the morning after. Eterna, the city where you spent 4 years, slowly disappears on the horizon. Will you ever see the capital again? You do not know. The sword, a gift from Stephen, is in your hands. Well, a nice gift for asshole Stephen. After 4 years in the capital, you return to your home city of Anazote. The end of youth. The years of your youth have come to an end. This time has come to leave the capital of Anazote and return to your family and new business in your hometown of Anazote. The years away from home were full of tumult and hardship. Your adult shoulders now bear the burden of your first life-changing decisions. Did you have the freedom to choose your lot for yourself? Or was it your destiny all along, ever since your childhood years? All you can do now is follow in the path that lies before you. Alright, there's the end of youth. So, seems pretty good. I think we check our personality here. We are now officially a nobleman instead of commoner. Which is good because being a commoner sucks. Alright, let's go ahead and hit continue. And there we are. 20 years old.
A full adult now, I returned from the capital a changed man. Yet, my hometown was not the same as I had left it. Fate had difficult times in store for all of us.
Alright. And with that, I think I'll go ahead and call it here. Next video, we'll start Chapter 4, Peacetime. That sounds nice, at least. So yeah, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I love you. Not really.